very interesting shi'ur on something that is relevant every single day of our lives, a couple of times a day. And it is also something that is relevant on Leil Haseder, a little bit less, but since we're coming close to Pesach, I'll start off the shi'ur with a question from Hilchot Pesach, and then we'll be able to really develop the whole inyan properly. And the inyan is the following. We know that there is a halacha regarding Berakha Aharona. When somebody eats a kezait of food, makes a Berakha Aharona. When somebody drinks a revi'it, they also make a Berakha Aharona. The question is, how much time do you have in regards to drinks in order to make properly a Berakha Aharona? That's the question at hand. So, believe it or not, this is not a halacha that's written anywhere in the Shulchan Aruch. It's not written anywhere in the Shulchan Aruch. It is written in Hilchot Yom HaKippurim, Siman Taf Resh Yud Bet. It is written in the laws of Yom HaKippurim, Siman Taf Resh Yud Bet, in regards to when somebody eats a davar shel isur, when somebody violates Yom Kippur. In order to violate Yom Kippur, it says by drinks, it's kedeh revi'it. By drinks, it's kedeh revi'it. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Taf Resh Yud Bet, it brings two opinions. The first opinion is that by drinks, it's kedeh revi'it. That means the amount of time it takes somebody to drink a revi'it is the amount of time that it says that it's forbidden. And yesh omrim, and some say kedei achilat pras. If you drink something kedei achilat pras, which some say is 4 minutes, some say 2 minutes, some say 9 minutes. Let's go with the shiur of 4 minutes. Then you would be chayav. Those are two opinions. The Magen Avraham and the Taz both bring that same halacha that is written on Hilchot Yom HaKippurim applies to the same regarding to making a bracha on a drink. That in order to make a bracha Aharona on a drink, one would have to drink kedei achilat pera. Would have to drink his drink betoch kedei shi'ur revi'it, and some say it would take him for kedei achilat pras in order to make a bracha Aharona. Those are the two opinions. Correct? How are we posek halecha lema'aseh? So the Mishnah Berurah in Siman Resh Yud, the Mishnah Berurah Siman Resh Yud says that the Gaon Mivilna said that the Ikar, that the main halacha is you have kedei achilat pras, which means, and this is the way the Ashkenazi halacha is, that the Ashkenazim follow, is that they make a bracha Aharona on a drink, even if it takes 4 minutes to drink. You have 4 minutes to drink to make a bracha Aharona. Something 2 minutes to drink. But it doesn't have to be done in one shot, kedei shi'ur shtiyut revi'it. However, the minhag by the Sfaradim in general seems to be that this is the accepted minhag, is to be machmir, safek brachot le'akel, and not to make a bracha Aharona unless one drinks mashkin, betoch kedei shi'ur shtiyat revi'it. In other words, Rabbi Tzimra Mashal says you have maybe 2 gulps. That's the maximum. You have to drink revi'it. So let's say half a cup. You have to drink half a cup within the amount. I'm not going to get into the exact amount of shiurim. That's going to be a shiur on its own. Say 86 cc, whatever it is that if you drink, it has to be done kedei shi'ur shtiyat revi'it in 1 shot or maximum 2 shots in order to be chayav. Got it? So far, so good. And that the Ben Ish Chai in Parashat Masa'eh, Od Zayin writes also that this is the minhag that one would that one has kedei shi'ur shtiyat revi'it in order to make a bracha Aharona. That means if you take 30 seconds to drink something, or even 20 seconds, you don't make a bracha Aharona, and that's what's accepted. So far, so good. Good. Now, the question that many of the Aharonim, Gdolei Sfarad and Gdolei Ashkenaz had was, what is the bracha Aharona for tea and coffee? They specifically discussed tea and coffee. What is the bracha Aharona by tea and coffee? So there's a sefer called, it should be the same, but there's a sefer called the Shi'ur Knesset HaGdola, the great Gdolei Sfarad, and he says that, in his opinion, the bracha Aharona for tea and coffee, you should, even if it takes you 20 minutes to drink, more than all the Shi'ur Kedei Achilat Pras, you still will have to make a bracha Aharona. Why? Because that's the derech to drink. And don't bring me a proof from the laws of Yom Kippurim that in order to be liable on Yom Kippur, you have to drink within right away, or in one shot, or 9 minutes, or 4 minutes, or 2 minutes, Kedei Achilat Pras, because that is regarding the halachot of Yom Kippurim, in order to say that a person got satiated right away, that he violated Yom Kippur. But regarding bracha Aharona, behana'at al yamilta, it depends how much hana'ah you get. And the way you get hana'ah by tea and coffee is that even if it takes 20 minutes, it takes a long time, you're going to be chayav bracha Aharona. So you should be chayav. You should be a chayav bracha Aharona, even if it takes a long time. And that's what he says he does. And not only by the Shi'ur Knesset HaGdola, we found other of the Gdolei Sfarad. They also said this, the Sefer Ginat Veradim, which was one of the great Chachmei Mitzrayim, Rav Avraham Halevi, also writes this way in Klal Aleph Siman Yud Zayin. And the Knesset HaGdola brings a couple of Gdolim who also said this way. There's Rav Yaakov Alfandri and Shilot Tshuvot Mutzal Me'esh also writes that one would make a bracha Aharona on tea and coffee. So there's a sefer by the Gdolei Ashkenaz also. They deal with this question. The Shulchan Aruch Harav, the Balatanya, also writes in his Sidur to make a bracha Aharona. The Maram Shik, which was a student of the Khatam Sofer, also writes to make a bracha Aharona. The Maharsham, which was one of the Gdolei Ashkenaz in the previous generation, also the Maharsham writes in the Sefer Da Torah also to make a bracha on tea and coffee. So you have many opinions. The Bnei Hayeh says to make a bracha Aharona. The question is, we would say that we never heard anybody doing this, and rightfully so, because the overwhelming minhag is the Sefer Savek Brachot Le'akel. The Chida already writes in Birkei Yosef that the minhag of Turkey and Eretz Yisrael is not to make a bracha on tea and coffee, and the Chida writes that this was the minhag. And Rav Yehuda Ayash, which was around the same time of the Chida, in Shirot Tshuvot Bet Yehuda Siman Zayin, also brings the same discussion whether to make a bracha Aharona on tea and coffee. And he says that even though it takes a long time to drink it, and really he thought that the svara should be, the logic, the compelling logic should be that one should make a bracha Aharona because it's talui in hana'ah, the hana'ah that you're getting, and you're getting hana'ah, so, and that's the way that people get hana'ah. It's not a different type of hana'ah you're getting, so why shouldn't you make a bracha Aharona? Nevertheless, even he agrees that the minhag is not that way, and therefore that's what should be done. And till today, most people that I know, they do not make a bracha Aharona on tea and coffee. Right? So far so good. They do not make a bracha Aharona on tea and coffee. So I want to bring this, I want to tie this into Hilchot Pesach, which is that we make a very interesting, we have Arba Kosot. On the third kos, after Birkat HaMazon, we make a bracha, and we don't have to drink a revi'it. Rov revi'it also. We don't have to drink a shi'ur of making a bracha. In the fourth cup, we also drink. You don't have to drink a revi'it, but it still says in the Haseder Haggadah that you make a bracha Aharona. You make a bracha Aharona on the fourth cup. So some Acharonim want to bring a proof that even though you don't have to drink a revi'it, you see that you combine the third cup and the fourth cup. How could you combine them? You didn't drink it if you eat in one shot. The answer is that since it's the derech, just like tea and coffee, it's fine. It's the derech to drink wine slowly, so it'll also be okay. So that's what they want to bring a proof in there. It's not a very strong proof, because you could say, we're talking about you make a bracha Aharona when you drink a revit in one shot. You didn't make a revit in one shot, you don't have to make a bracha Aharona. So it's not such a strong proof. But nevertheless, they do try to bring such a proof. What I want to mention is like this. What I want to mention is that I had the zechut of finding an unbelievable teshuvah from Rav Shmuel ibn Elbaz, was one of the Gedolei Ador who lived around 200 years ago in Morocco. And this is not any Shilot Tshuva that he has. It's brought down in the Sefer Fizot Liyodah from Rav Yehuda Toledano, who lived around 200 years ago. And he says he found in the house of Rav Shmuel ben Elbaz a Teshuvah. And in this Teshuvah, he deals with a question. He's not dealing with tea and coffee. He's dealing with wine and beer. And you don't drink it in one shot. He's talking about the derech is to drink it little by little. And he says that even though you might think that you shouldn't make a bracha Aharona because it takes longer, mikidei achilat peras, but since it's the derech, so it's not like Yom Kippurim. Like we said, it's not like Yom Kippurim. It's dependent upon hana'ah, and since you're getting hana'ah, you should make a bracha. And believe it or not, I'll read to you his exact lashon. Says Rav Shmuel ibn Elbaz, v'lida'ati, and in my opinion, if somebody would agree with me, this should be the halacha. You should make a bracha Aharona on wine, and even if it takes you a half hour, you're sipping away. But that's the derech, how you drink wine. You should make an ala gefen. And especially according to what we understand, if you are not sure what the halacha is, you should always go after the minhag. And listen to this. And ma'asim b'chol yom, and it is common practice that everyone makes a bracha Aharona, even if it takes longer than kedei achilat pras. Unbelievable. On tea, on coffee, on wine, on beer, it takes a half hour, you still make a bracha Aharona. Written 200 years ago, he says, everybody would do this. So the minhag nowadays is not like what he's saying. It's that we never heard anybody doing a bracha Aharona on this. But what I would like to suggest is the following. No, nobody makes a bracha Aharona unless they drink a revi'it in one shot. But what I would like to suggest is the following. The Mishnah Berurah in Siman Resh Yud, Sif Katan Aleph, says like this. He brings the machloket regarding tea and coffee, whether one should make a bracha Aharona even if it takes more than Shi'ur kedei achilat pras. According to his opinion, Shi'ur kedei achilat pras. And he says, Ve'anshim ma'aseh, people of worth, people Yirei Shamayim, important people, what they do is that they wait till at the end of their coffee drink, at the end of their tea drink, they wait till it becomes a little bit cold, and then they drink in one shot to fulfill all of the opinions. Somebody told me that the brisker Rav would always have a glass of water and tea with him. So he never gets into the question of making bracha on tea. He would have a glass of water, and for sure, drink in one shot, that would be able to do bracha Aharona. But the Mishnah Berurah says that this is the itzah that you should do. The Birkei Yosef, and this itzah was already brought down in the Sefer Yad Aharon, and the Sha'arei Teshuvah in Siman Resh Dalet brings down this itzah, and he brings the Birkei Yosef, argues on this itzah. He says, no, even drinking tea and coffee in one shot, you can't make a bracha Aharona. Why? Because batla da'ato, because a person who drinks tea and coffee, it's not the normal way of drinking tea and coffee. Batla da'ato, his da'at doesn't count. That's not the normal way of drinking. And even if you drink it in one shot, you're not going to make a bracha Aharona. Very famous Birkei Yosef says this. And some Acharonim agree with him. However, I think that according to everything that we discussed, and it's possible to say that we have kind of a sifika to say that it would be worthy to try to say a bracha Aharona on the tea and coffee and drink it in one shot to fulfill all opinions. Because even if you want to say that, in other words, on one hand, we have the idut, the testimony of Rabbi Shmuel ibn Elbaz, who tells us clearly that the minhag was to make a bracha Aharona on tea and coffee, even if it took a long time. So even if you want to say that's not the minhag, but at least if you drink it in one shot, you're covered on all ends. Maybe the halacha is like Shmuel ibn Elbaz, even though the halacha is not like him, but maybe the halacha is like the Mishnah Berurah, like on Shir Ma'aseh, that if you drink in one shot, it's okay, not like the Birkei Yosef. The Ma'aseh, the Sha'arei Teshuvah asks of the Birkei Yosef, says, why should you say it's not the normal way of drinking? Rav Avad Yosef also, he says that Yesh al ma lismoch in Sefer Halichot Olam, he's very strong about it. He says, somebody could drink and he could do like that to the Mishnah Berurah, Yesh lo al ma lismoch. And even in Yabia Omer, he writes in Chelek, he writes a little bit different. He says, even though Yesham Smoke, but somebody asks you, you should tell him not to do this itzah. But it looks like in Halichat Olam, he's much more adamant that you could do this itzah. And according to what we're saying, that this was the minhag 200 years ago, I think it reinforces the case that it's not a far-fetched itzah to say. It's not a far-fetched a piece of advice that you would give somebody, that if they drink tea and coffee, that at the end, if they want to drink it in one shot, they make a Berakha Aharona, it should be okay. However, I found in by the writings of Rabbi Yosef Misas in Otzara Michtavim, Chelek Aleph Siman Shin Samech Vav, he was asked this question about what do you do about tea and coffee? There's a big machloket whether make a Berakha Aharona, maybe you should drink it in one shot. He says it's a big machloket, and by us, everyone just drinks normally and they never make Berakha Aharona. So even though Rabbi Yosef Misas writes this, but I think that he's just saying on what regular people would do, but I think that it would be a worthy chumrah in light of the fact that we found that Rabbi Shmuel in Ben Elbaz says that this was the minhag all over 200 years ago, that or somebody wants to drink a glass of water before and to be say that's for sure okay. But even if somebody wants to do the Etzav the Mishnah Brura, Rav Avad Yosef says Yesh lo al ma lismoch, and others as well. Vadai, that would be the proper thing, and that would be halacha lima'aseh, a very good thing to do. So that is the halacha. So once again, just to recap what we said, Berakha Aharona on drinks is only b'kadesh Shi'ur shtiyat revi'it. That's the accepted minhag. There's a question in the Acharonim on tea and coffee that takes a long time to drink, even if it takes 20 minutes to drink, whether you should make a Berakha Aharona. And even though many Acharonim say to make a Berakha Aharona, we are lenient. Nevertheless, we found in the Ketavim of Rabbi Shmuel ben Elbaz that the minhag by them was to do Berakha Aharona. So we said, in order to a person who wants to be Yiras Shamayim to fulfill all opinions, he could do the Etzav the Mishnah Brura, to leave a little bit of mashkin at the end of your tea and coffee and drink it in one shot, and that way you can make a Berakha Aharona. Chazaku Baruch. Wow.